A run a day keeps the therapist away. I mean, a run a day keeps the doctor away, keeps the whole thing away. Running for me, what I can tell you is if you've got any block or if you got any issue or you got any challenge, if you do some sort of physical action, it's going to start to fix it. Running for me is that thing. And actually, I have a good friend, a great friend. He was dealing with some depression almost a year ago. And one of the first things we talked to him about and rallied around with him was, hey, let's start like getting physical activity in there, starting running. And he hadn't run in years, like years and years and years. And he lives a growth mindset, which is pretty cool. He's an old, like not older, he's 45 or something like that. But he didn't stay stuck in that personality. He was willing to change and make it happen. He has the growth mindset. And he started running, and slowly but surely, that depressive state, he started running the depressive state out of him, just shedding what was being held on inside, shedding it out. And that's what I love about running. It does that for me. And for an addict, somebody who's like has an addictive personality, it's a free high. Legitimately, this morning, it was like a true free high. I sprinted up this hill. It's a cool hill as you finish a run at where we live, no matter what, to get back to our office. And in the locker rooms, you have to go up a hill. So we sprinted up that hill and always get a free high. So a run a day keeps the therapist away, the doctor away, whatever it is. Highly recommended. That's how Momentasize was born in the first place. And anytime I have a lot of tension coming on, running solves it. A good old run will just completely shed whatever block I'm having. It's like movement meditation. So that's a big one. We started the growth mindset off with that because it's changed my life. And I truly believe for anyone who's feeling anything that's stuck or needs something, just get moving on it. It doesn't have to be these long, crazy, big runs. Like just start moving and shaking, and literally the chemical reactions that you get from it, the chemical reactions in your brain and your body, that alone will start to rock and roll on things. Other things on the growth mindset, as I'm reflecting on what I'm working on right now, there's two things. One that I learned a while back, and this was something that took me a while to get teed up and really audit myself on, is that I think oftentimes from the point of an idea to our point of taking massive action behind it, we create too much time between those two things. We have an idea, and then we mentally masturbate about that idea way too long. We don't take the first massive action step. And Tony Robbins talks a lot about that. It's a quote I love, is knowledge is not power. It's just potential power. It's the massive action behind the idea or the knowledge that you just gained that'll really create a change in your life. And so the challenges, and I used to have this too, I'm like, hey, a year from now I'll hire. I remember my thing was, hey, a year from now I'll be ready to hire employees when I was wearing all the hats. A year from now I'll be ready. But why a year from now? It's just, there wasn't anything behind it outside of the fear of bringing people on, then having to make sure we had enough work to keep the thing rolling, to feed their families, our families. The whole thing was this weird fear thing. It wasn't this like logical component. It was just, hey, a year from now, I pushed it out. I had the idea, but then a year from now we're ready. But you become ready for things at the actual time that you put it in. And so I think it's key and important to, if you have an idea, it doesn't have to be like this huge step forward, because you might be saying to me, Dirk, oh yeah, it's one thing to have an idea, but to act on it right away would be crazy, especially if it's a big idea. I'm not saying you have to like tackle the whole idea. I'm saying take the first step forward quickly so that you're not mentally masturbating about it and you get an answer. Because even if you have an idea and you take a massive action step forward to get momentum, it might tell you, hey, I need to do a positive pivot, or that idea isn't something I want to pursue. But if you can shorten from idea to massive action first step, if you can shorten that time, I think you'll gain a lot of momentum. And that's what Momentasize is, conquering the moment. And it'll really be able to push things forward. We have that right now. I have an idea for a simple, amazing, cool software that we're going to build that's going to really speed up and benefit the ground up game. And from the idea on Sunday to where we're at now, we just took massive action behind it. And that started getting the ball rolling. Now I've got a couple groups doing proposals, and we're already going. So from Sunday to today, which is Wednesday, we've been able to move that idea into action. Who knows if we're going to actually finish it out or not, but at least the idea has now had some massive action. And it's not just this idea that I'm thinking about anymore. It's been put into play, and let's see what happens, right? So shorten that from idea to the moment of massive action to gain momentum. That's huge. It helps me out a ton, and it allows me to decide whether or not I'm going to move forward. We shorten that that mental masturbation, and we actually take action on our ideas, because that's how you create anything, right? Is massive action. Other things for me on the growth mindset, 2 books that I've read right now that are really impacting me is this book by Patrick Bet-David. He is a thought leader beyond all. He's really pushing to care so much about people, capitalism, entrepreneurship, the United States. I love this man. That's what's cool about social media. He has no idea who I am, but I've been able to study him and learn all this knowledge because he's willing to share it. This book, phenomenal book for anybody who is what he calls in the audacious few. And it's just an amazing book to read. You know, one thing that has been different in my career, I used to never like to read. I have dyslexia, so I didn't like to read. But I think that was because all the reading I had to do was all theory-based. It wasn't practical for me. It was all theory-based. Well, now I have a passion that's born, entrepreneurship, building a business, etc. And all this stuff, now I'm obsessed with reading because it's practical for me. So I think you audit that. If you don't like something, it's probably not because, like, especially in the growth mindset of reading, if you don't like reading or you think you don't like reading, which is what I thought, just tell myself, like, reading's not for me, or I don't like it, I have dyslexia, I'm slow at it, whatever. It was because it was theory-based, not attached to a passion. As soon as it's attached to a passion, it changes the whole thing. So when you're reading too, some people just read to read, but for me, it's like every single question that he has in here, I answer. So when I read his book, rather than just read it and digest it, goes kind of back to that mental masturbation, act like you're actually doing something with it. I'll go through and answer every single question, which sometimes is hard, like actually really hard. So in my notes, right, I'll go through and I'll answer every single question that he has. I mean, you've got every question he has in there, I actually answer it because it becomes a practical blueprint and playbook. And so you can see, I mean, it's taken me a long time just to digest. That's a lot of notes, especially for a guy who used to not like to read. So, you know, this book's changed my life, but I challenge you, when a writer is asking you a question and you're trying to practically bring that into your life, like answer the question, go through and actually answer the question. And just by doing that, you're probably going to be in the 5% of taking the knowledge and putting it into action just by doing that, because a lot of people just read and never answer the question. This book, if you really want to push forward, will change your life. I know it's been changing mine. Another one is The Motive. I love this one, The Motive by Patrick Lencioni. Anything you can get your hands on from Patrick Lencioni is phenomenal. It's a great book. He's a great thought leader on leadership, how culture should be built, and it just breaks through what the actual role of a leader should be, not the perceived role of a leader or a CEO. So a really, really great book, quick, amazing, and definitely one of those rereads as well. You know, I think that when you're living the growth mindset, every single day, you're just trying to get a little bit better. And it's not a me against you or me against whatever. It's a you against you, right? You against you. That's why we have it right here. It's you against you. You against yesterday's version of you. And just trying to find ways to become a little bit better. That doesn't always mean you have to like drive through and like push through. I got that crazy mentality. My wife always says that to me. Sometimes that also means you recharge, rest, re-energize, get re-inspired. But it is a game of just trying to improve a little bit every single day. And that's what keeps my fire, like it lights my fire. It's what keeps me going, is this growth mindset to try to get a little bit better, to, you know, look at myself every single day and ask myself the different questions on, you know, my dad taught me this, like what went well, what didn't go so well, and what are you going to do to improve on it, right? He taught me that. He said, Dirk, what went well, what didn't go so well, and what are you going to do to improve on it? And I think if you ask yourself those 3 questions and you live a growth mindset, and you just try to become a little bit better every day, I think that paired with massive action, you can build a dream, a life beyond your wildest dreams. You really, really can, if you stick with it and you just don't give up on yourself, don't give up on your dreams, and you just continue to push extremely hard on what's in your mind, in your heart, and in your soul. So, you know, that's where we're at this week. That's what we're thinking about, trying to find ways from our ideas to the massive action behind them. We're trying to shorten the time in between those. And who knows, it might end up being a positive pivot. We might shut the idea down, but at least we're not mentally masturbating about it anymore, and we're just driving it forward. You know, I really, really, really believe in continuing to work on yourself every single day. I appreciate you guys tuning in, listening. You know how much I love you guys. You know how much we love connecting with you. And I hope you guys are having a phenomenal week. Live the growth mindset. And with that, we will see you on the next one, baby.